All right, so this section, we're still talking about when the A is not a 1, so when that leading coefficient is something other than a 1. But this time, your B and your C term are both negative. So remember, we have standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so when the B and the C are both negative, we do something a tiny bit different. Same process, factor out any GCFs, multiply leading coefficient. We do the exact same thing we've been doing. Okay, so in example 1, no GCF. 6, 5, and 4 don't have anything. So I'm going to multiply leading coefficient 6 by the constant negative 4. Factor pairs. Okay, but this time I need my factor pairs to add to be negative 5. Okay, so when it was positive B and negative C, it was a little factor that was negative. When they're both negative, that means my negative number has to outweigh the positive number. Okay, so the negative number has to be, in quotes, bigger than the positive number. So the big factor is negative. All right, so find a factor pair that adds together to be negative 5, and that's going to be 3 and negative 8. We break it up, positive 3x, negative 8x. Group the first two and last two. GCF of the first group is 3x. GCF of the second group is negative 4. Okay, so let's see. Common binomial, 2x plus 1. And then what's left is your other factor. Example 2, no GCF on this one. So we go ahead and multiply the leading coefficient 10 by the constant negative 2. So I've got 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. And because the C term is negative, okay, my big number is going to outweigh the small number. My big factor is what's negative. I need a factor pair that adds to be negative 1. That's going to be 4 and negative 5. Break it up. Bring down your negative 2 and your 10n squared. Group. GCF of the first group is 2n. Now your second group does not have a GCF, and you have not seen this yet, where I'm not going to pull out a positive 1. I'm actually going to pull out a negative 1. Okay, so there wasn't a GCF in this group. Okay, so I'm either going to take out a 1 or a negative 1. In this case, because this was a negative number, I pulled out the negative 1. All that does, I don't know what that is change the sign to positive 5n, positive 2. Common binomial, that's a GCF, and then whatever is left. No GCF on example 3, so multiply leading coefficient by the constant. Factor pairs. Adding together to be negative 13. Remember, our big factor is negative. The negative has to outweigh the positive here. And then, let's see. Factor pair that adds to be negative 13 is here. So positive 1x, negative 14x, bring down your negative 2 and your 7x squared. Again, just a reminder, I'm not changing the value of this negative 13. I'm just I'm uncombining like terms. Okay, so typically when we'd FOIL, we would multiply combine like terms and we get our answer. So now I'm uncombining like terms and I'm unfoiling. So group, first two and last two. GCF is x. GCF is not positive, negative 2. Common binomial. And then whatever is left. Example 4, GCF on this one, 15, 18, and 24 have a common factor of 3. All right, so for the moment, I'm going to ignore that GCF. We're going to pretend like it's not there and just concentrate on the 5 and the negative 8, multiply those two together. factor pairs. Big factor outweighs the small factor here, so the big number has to be negative. And they have to add to be -6. So it's going to be 4 and -10. Positive 4x, -10x. We have -8, 5x squared. Again, ignoring the 3 for just a moment. Group, GCF, GCF. 5x plus 4 is the common binomial factor. What's left is the x minus 2, and then bring down that 3. If you want to get these things correct, you have to make sure you have brought down the GCF that you